So, be honest. How much do you hate networking? How much do you hate the idea of going up to someone random and being like, hey, here's something about me. I'm a filmmaker or I'm an artist and I'm trying to get something out of you, or I'm trying to basically be friends with you, like forcing friendships. Well, I'm here to help you out. I'm here to be a guide for you. Allow me to show you. Hi, I'm Wesley Rodriguez. I'm a writer, director, cinematographer based in Los Angeles, and I'm going to teach you how to network properly and not come off as a true fake. So, I've been in this industry for 12 years now, and I've worked in countless films and worked on so many sets, and one of the main things that part of the job is networking, and you have to go out there, you have to put yourself out there, you have to be genuine, and you have to essentially kind of work your way through the ranks. And a lot of it is being social, and so sorry it is very difficult for introverts in this field, but it's not impossible. I think it's all part of your recharging and the way that you can really aim for quality rather than quantity. So number one, lead with value. So the value that you bring to the conversation is your genuineness, is what makes you you, what kind of movies or what kind of art you like. And I think leading with that allows it a little bit less of like, oh, what do I want from you, rather than just expressing, oh, these are my interests, maybe our interests align. And then if they do, then that's a good mesh, that's a good quality connection, is you are meeting someone right where they're at and you're not asking them for anything. And so remember, don't ask for anything right when you meet someone. It'll make them shut down. It'll make them want to be like, I don't want to talk to you. You just want me for so-and-so, whatever, my connections, blah, blah, blah. Number two, the best thing to do in networking is talk about them. Be curious, be asking them questions, ask them what are they working on, what are they excited about. I think when you're asking them about what they're excited about, they're a lot more willing to share. They're a lot more willing to give you answers. Because if you ask, yes or no questions, all they're going to give you is, yeah, I work on this film, or I work on TV. And then they just won't give you a direct answer, and you'll just lead to not going anywhere and not getting to know either them, or they won't be getting to know you. So be curious, ask questions, but ask them in a way where they can get excited about telling you about what they're working on. Number three, follow up. I think this is something that a lot of us don't do, is that maybe after an event, you just add them on Instagram and then you scroll through their profile, maybe like a few things along life, but then you don't actually follow up with them. I think it's important to then follow up and in a one-on-one, ask them out for coffee, ask them to pick their brain. There's so many things you could do to form that connection where just one single meeting isn't enough. And especially in a single meeting where there's like so many people, it's an event, there's a lot of things going on. Focus on these small little meetings, one-on-ones, especially for you introverts. Those one-on-ones are really helpful because that's where you shine. That's where you can really connect with these people. So try to get a one-on-one after the fact. Ask them questions. You just want to pick their brain. You don't want to ask for anything. You don't want to ask for a job. You don't want to do that yet, because that'll come. A lot of the work that I've made are from connections that I've had for years. Sometimes we'll meet like 3 or 4 years ago, and then I'll finally get to work with them after 4 years. So it is a marathon, and you have to remember that you are putting little bit by little bit, and they're getting to know you not all at once, but step by step. And number four, another key thing about networking is that you need to show up. You need to show up for these film festivals. You need to show up for these events. You need to make your face known. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to talk to everyone. And I really don't recommend talking to everyone. It's really useless because all you're getting is like tidbits of people. I think if you can talk to a few quality people throughout these events, you'll eventually start seeing them at multiple places, and you'll start seeing them everywhere. And that's where you want to be, because it's like, oh, they can see that you are consistent and you're someone who is showing up. And like I said, you're dropping a penny into the piggy bank every time you get to meet someone and talk to them. And so they start building more trust in you, start building more rapport, and then you start building a genuine connection. You start building a friendship. And I think that's more important than, like a colleague or anything. I think people want to know that you are their friend, and they can be someone that you can rely on year after year after year. So consistency is key. So remember that when you go to all these events, that anything you say can be held against you too. So be careful. Do not burn any bridges, because they will come back to you. Trust me, this has happened to me before. I don't like it. It's not a good feeling. So always stay in the clear and be nice to everyone that you meet. Okay, so let's talk about what you shouldn't do in networking, because there's a lot of things that you probably shouldn't do. Don't talk about yourself. This kind of seems kind of counterintuitive, because you want them to get to know you. Is don't talk about yourself right away. Don't make yourself the most important person in the room. People can smell that, and it doesn't leave a good taste in your mouth. And that's something that becomes very like, this person, all they love just talking about is how good their film is, or how good their quality of production, whatever it may be. I've had this happen in a lot of film festivals where people are like, oh, please vote for my film, blah blah blah, and I can't get that taste out of my mouth. The fact that it's just so desperate. And I think you don't want to be desperate. You don't want to be desperate in this industry, because people will see that and they will turn off to that, and they'll talk to their friends about that. And so yeah, you want to ask people about their life, and then just have it naturally come back to you. If they ask about you, if they ask about what you're working on, what you're excited about, that's a moment where you can step in and be like, you know what, I'm really excited that I'm working on this sci-fi project that has this so-and-so world, and it does this and does that. And then the other person goes, oh wow, that's really cool, can you tell me more about that? That's really good. As when someone asks you, or when someone says tell me more, that's another good choice of words to use when you're asking someone else about something, is tell me more about your project, tell me more about what makes you tick, or tell me more what of this project that you're working on that you're so excited about. So focus on them, and it'll always return back to you. There'll always be a way. The right people will ask you about you, so just chill. This goes without saying, do not pitch to anyone that is not taking a pitch. It's something that happens all the time in Hollywood. Is you get like 30 seconds with someone, and you're like, oh, I need to pitch my story, because this is the only time I'll ever get to ever see them, and I need this to get made, and I want this now. Just relax. I think your project is probably really good. It has some work to do on the networking side before it can be brought into a room. So I think when you're thinking about pitching a project, don't pitch it on the first time you see them. Don't pitch it on the second. Don't pitch it on the third. Kind of start asking questions to see, maybe, like if you're meeting with an executive, for example, you want to just kind of test the waters and be like, oh, like what are you guys looking for? Are you guys taking pitches? It's almost like asking for consent before you pitch something, because ultimately there's all kinds of laws to this, and like that's why there's managers in places. You don't want to be caught in a weird loophole where you're pitching something and then they create something that's similar off of your idea. Let me tell you, there's so many ideas that are probably the same thing that you've been working on. It's just natural, but you want to be careful, because that becomes a little bit of a legal battle there, and you don't want to get involved with that at all. So protect yourself, protect the person you're talking to. Make sure it's in a consensual space before you pitch. Number 3, do not be transactional. You are not networking so that this person can make your thing. Stop thinking that way. this is a really bad way to get involved with the wrong sort of people. I talk about this in my Chief Filmmaker series, is that there is an energy, and when you sort of gravitate toward an energy of desperation, an energy of what can you do for me, they're going to be the same way with you. They're going to be like, what can you do for me? And then it becomes this situation where it's like, well, let me find someone else who can do that for me, because this is just as easy to just look over here and find someone who's just as transactional. And then you start getting into that loop of people who are just transactional, and that's not what you want. You want a connection that's genuine, that will last you for decades, that will keep you in mind, who know how genuine you are, and that's where you want to be. So focus on that. Focus on a long-term relationship rather than a short-term of, oh, you can make my movie, or you can fund this, because that doesn't work. And our final don't ghost. Literally, I've had so many people that are like, hey, I really want to work with you, or I really can't wait to do something with you or collaborate with you. And if you have like a good connection with this person, this is especially in like dating or something, it's like you get to know them, and then they're wonderful, and then they just all of a sudden stop messaging you, stop texting you. You know, their words are empty. I think this is really important actually in collaborations, is networking with the right people. You'll essentially find that sense of connection where if they're the right people, they will continue to chat with you. Actions speak louder than words. So always remember that if they're not necessarily, if they're shooting you up, you know, with all these wonderful words, oh man, your work is so beautiful, it's so great, I can't wait to work with you, I can't wait to fund your film. Hold, breathe. I've had so many times where I've networked with executives, with studio heads, and they've been so excited about my work, and then all of a sudden, nothing. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Everyone is trying to do their own thing. Everyone gets excited sometimes, but overall, actions speak louder than words. Just hold off, wait until you sign that deal, and then you're good. So our final takeaway here is that networking is so important for the growth of your artistic journey, for your career, for your financial stability, all this kind of stuff. Networking is so important, and I hope these tools that I gave you help. I hope these perspectives help, because obviously it's about building genuine connection. It's not about creating this huge contact list in your phone. It's not about having all these followers from all these different networking events. It's not about that. It's about building that genuine connection with these people who you're genuinely going to work with in the future, who will help uplift you, and who, if you need someone to call where you're having trouble or struggling to find work, you can rely on them. And that's what you want. Just like in friendships, you know, you don't want a million friends who don't care about you. You want 3 friends who you can call at any point in time, and they can be like, yes, yes, yes. So focus on that. Focus on those genuine connections, because that will take you really far. So if this resonated with you, please hit the like and subscribe below, and comment whether or not if any of these helped, and as well as any networking advice that you have. You know, if there's anything else that I missed, I would love to know more about other techniques and tools that you use for that. So thank you again for watching. Again, I'm Wes, and let's always create with purpose and with flow. So much love. I'll see you in the next one.